And we're gonna more live on Facebook. Okay. It will ask me to enter the title and so on. Loading. Okay.
That's what happens when you have animals and children in the house.
Oh yeah, I don't even see what happened because give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, almost. Sometimes you lie before you even know that you are, but yeah, okay. It will tell us when we're live.
Okay.
I think we may be already. Hello. Hi everyone, Leticia here, coming to you for my first edition of Money Matters for 2021. And as announced a bit earlier today, I decided on a very inspiring topic today, and that is creating abundance in 2021. And I have the great pleasure of having as my guest today, the lovely Miss Aly Michaels-Clark. She's someone, hi Aly. She's someone I had the pleasure of connecting with recently here in Playa del Carmen, I may say. And she, to my great pleasure, she's somebody who is highly trained with Tony Robbins. She's a results coach. And I'd like to take a minute to read Aly's bio for you, if I may. Okay, give me 1 second. So,
everybody, happy New Year's and hello from the beautiful Playa del Carmen in Mexico, or Mexico as we say here.
That's right. So with over 30 years in sales and leadership and 16 years in personal development, Aly has a passion for results and exponentially taking a business or an individual to transcend, transform, and triumph. Her approach is real, raw, and authentic, yet totally unconventional. I like that. After watching her single mother work 18-hour days, 7 days a week for only $384 an hour, she
no, $3.84 an hour.
$3 and that's right, $3.84 an hour. She vowed that she would not succumb to that way of life and made her mission to be financially free and never be dependent on anyone, but have the knowledge and the resources to take her life, relationships, business, and her finances to financial freedom. And Aly spent over 3 decades learning from the best in personal development, business, and financial minds, like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, Harry Dent, Dr. John DeMartini. And Aly developed her 5-step success system, which she teaches today. Fueled by her love of traveling and being a global citizen speaking 4 languages, she will be the first to proclaim that you don't have to settle for the life you were born into. With the right mindset, a plan, and consistent action, you can have everything you have ever wanted. Your mindset determines your life, your beliefs, your actions, and your choices. When it comes to any type of result you wish to have in life, whether you think you can or you cannot, you are usually right. Aly retired at the age of 37 and now lives in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, close to Cancun. Okay. Any starting words for us, Aly? First of all, welcome so much to our webinar.
Thank you. Well, Leticia, it is the beginning of the year, and I'm really glad that you are actually starting your Money Matters webinars with this topic that we're about to talk today, which is creating abundance in 2021. I mean, recently with getting over 2020, and boy, wasn't that a year. 2020 made a lot of people, but it also broke many more people. And I think when it comes down to abundance and when you're talking about money, there's different ways of actually looking at it. I mean, creating abundance is not something that you do. It's who you are as a person and who you become. So when we talk about abundance this year, I'm talking about not just monetary abundance, but also spiritual abundance, also abundance in health, also abundance in relationships, also abundance in obviously career and all aspects of your life, but I will be speaking about from the business methodology on my 5 steps of creating abundance, relating to obviously finances and relating to money. Obviously, I wrote the book Money, Make It, Manage It, Master It. And we will talk about that in a second. But yes, abundance for me is really, I guess I can say that I define success. Success for me is really about the abundance that one has in their life. So for me, when I say abundance, and everybody has got their own definition for success and abundance, and I guess if we were to survey 100 people or 1,000 people, we would get different answers with each and every one of them. And I'm sure the difference or the definition for abundance for you is different to mine. Mine is really the same as it is for success, which is being able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, for as long as I want, without any restrictions at all whatsoever.
I love
it. Yeah, so whether that means that, I can pick up and go and live somewhere else around the world, whether that means that I can go to a restaurant and not look on the right-hand side of the menu to see the prices. I can just pick whatever sounds good to me, whether it is being able to travel with my family, whether it's being able to grow a business, whether it's having the best relationship one can have, or whether it's just having the peacefulness and the serenity and the spirituality that others go for. Abundance for me is a combination of all of that. And the thing is, the more work I do in personal development, and I love personal development. I started in 2004. My first event was a Tony Robbins event in Sydney, Australia. Yeah, it was, it's funny how life just guides you into where you're meant to be. I'm a really big believer of you're always the right person at the right place at the right time. So meaning I don't believe in coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. However, I do believe in intention. I do believe in clarity, and I do believe in action taking. I also believe in a couple of other things, such as consistency, persistence, obviously not quitting until you get to what you want. But overall, I also, as a free spirit, I also believe that we are meant to be where we are and there's nothing, life is not what happens to us. Life is always happening for us.
Amazing.
Meaning you are the right person in the right place at the right time. The only difference is, I guess, is that most people choose to focus on what they lack.
Right.
So for example, I don't have that job that I want. I don't have that car. I don't have that guy or that girl. They're always focusing on lack. And what they're actually creating is they are precisely tuning in to the frequency of our universe by giving more energy to that.
Right.
And in many cases, actually giving energy to the things that they don't want. Right. So as a result, they are creating this. I remember before I got married, I used to always say, I don't want them short, I don't want them fat, and I don't want them poor, right? And I would always get them short, fat, and as a consequence, right?
Yep.
The big, right? So, and that was that. I'm being completely honest. That was because I focused on what I did not want to have. And as a result, I created that and I manifested that. Abundance, it's also all about manifestation. And the thing is that, unfortunately, we cannot choose our family, and we are born into this world a part of a family with certain, with certain socioeconomic influence, with certain, living in a geographic location and all of that.
I happen to believe that we do choose our family when we come in, but I mean, that's a different conversation and I don't have proof. It's a belief that I have.
What I'm saying is that may be true, but what I'm saying is who you are born, it doesn't just stop there. So for example, I mean, there's a lot of people, let's be honest, 97% of the population is, is lacking in terms of, finances and so forth. I mean, more than half, wait, let me stand corrected. Half of the world population are living on, less than $2 a day. That's just reality. You know what I mean? Out of, the 7 billion people plus that are out there. So that's the truth of the matter. However, you don't have to, you don't have to settle for that. The life that you are born into does not mean that you have to settle for that. And that's why I always say with a consistent plan, the right mindset, the resources, obviously the mentorship, taking action, and a few other things, you can have, do, and be, and anything and anybody that you want to do and be and have. And as a result, that's where abundance comes in as well. Like I mentioned before, I mean, one of the things that I work with my clients, and this is one of the biggest things out there when it comes to abundance and when it comes to money as well, and also relationships and health as well. Like it stems through all the realms of the different angles of our life. And that is the number one thing, is the fact that nobody's really clear. And when I say clear, I'm talking about the clarity of actually knowing what you want. So that's like the first thing that I usually sit down and talk to people, because if you ask them, okay, what exactly do you want to achieve? What exactly do you wish to have? They will say, I want a big car, or I want X amount of dollars. But it's not about that. It's really about the feeling that you're attaching to that, meaning money. And I mean, I can say this because I chased most of my life the dollars. Okay. And the reasons why I did that is because my parents immigrated from Eastern Europe to Australia. And I remember just before my 7th birthday, it was like, happy birthday, Aly, your parents are getting divorced. Who would you like to go with? By the way, Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year as well.
Wow.
Nothing that, a 7-year-old kid should have to decide at that age. But the truth of the matter was that I made a decision earlier on when I saw my mom be by herself and work 18 hours a day as a machinist in a factory for $3.80 an hour, that I did not, and I was not going to settle for that kind of life. And I mean, it was pretty harsh, because back then, apart from her working a lot and I would never see her, on the weekends we would go to these so-called, what do you guys call them? Like trash and treasure markets, secondhand markets. So she basically would get a whole bunch of little garments on consignment, and she would make 50 cents to, $1 per item as her profit. I remember the most she made was like $2 or $2.50, and it was like an amazing day. Sitting under, 30-degree heat in the summer in Australia, no umbrella, no knowledge of skincare damage and all of that kind of stuff back in the day, just for her to actually have, more money to put food on the table, just for her to pay the bills, just for her to give herself all the things that she needed to, but nothing lavish. We're just talking to pay bills. I mean, I remember as a kid, I never got pocket money, and it sucked. The thing was that I remember borrowing $1 from her. I had this amazing appetite as a kid, and I still do. I'm a vegetarian these days, well, pescatarian actually, so I don't eat meat, but I remember these delicious chicken and burgers at the canteen, and they were $1, and I could not afford to get them. She would never give me pocket money, but I would have my 70 cents for sports money on a Friday. And so what would happen with at these trash and treasure markets, I then just decided to see the opportunity, because I thought, okay, well, she's not going to give me money. I just need to come up with a way to make my own money. So I borrowed $1 from her. And back in the day, I don't know if you recall, there were these erasers, these fragrant erasers that used to
Yep.
smell really good, like, you know, strawberry flavor and vanilla and all of that. So I borrowed $1. I literally went on a spending spree, and I would, you know, like each eraser was like 5 cents and 10 cents. And the following Monday, I would go to school and I would sell them all to my friends. So that is how I actually started to make my money back at the age of 8. And with time, it kind of progressed, because what would happen was I got really good at understanding people. I got really good at persuasion, I guess, at negotiation, and also at predicting what they would like from a consumer point of view. So it just really progressed with that. And then as I got into high school, I would buy the magazines. I'd pay like 10 cents for a whole magazine of the pop stars, and then I'd rip it off and I would sell it page by page. The centerfold was always $1 because it was colored back then. It was only like the front page, the back page, and the centerfold poster was colored, and everything else was black and white. So the centerfold was $1. It was 2 sides, right? So, you know, it was worth it. And sell everything else piece by piece, 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents, and so forth. And that's how I actually got, got my own pocket money. I made quite a lot. I mean, I remember there were weeks where I actually then got employees, so to speak. I was with my girlfriends, and we upscaled to having 2 people work for us. So I got myself a partner, and then we got another girl who's brilliant at Googling, like graffiti type Googling. So we would get like your boyfriend's name or your favorite band's name and so forth. So, you know, from a young age, I found out what really was needed in the marketplace, so to speak. But all that had to do because I was really clear with what I wanted. And back then it was something silly as getting my $1 to get my chicken burger, you know, and to have money to do whatever I wanted to do with, which was really spending it on food. It just, you know, it progressed like that. And it was really, I mean, looking back now, it gave me a better understanding on what I mentioned, being clear on what it is that you want to have and to achieve.
Okay.
And clarity, unfortunately, is something that today, what I teach my clients is really to be clear, but not so much to be clear per se. You need to be clear through the 5 senses. So for example, let's say we're talking about a relationship. It doesn't have to be, I'm just going to say relationship because I think most people will be able to, can relate with the relationship.
Yeah.
For example, let's say you're a single lady and you want to have a relationship with obviously a man, or might be a woman. Say you're looking for the ideal man, right? And what I teach my clients to do is to actually get really clear, but also get really clear when it comes to the 5 senses. So for example, how do you want to feel when you are around your man? Do you want to feel safe? Do you want to feel loved? Do you want to feel like you're the most important woman in the world? Do you want to feel, you know, that he's putting you on a pedestal? Do you want to feel equal to him? How do you want to feel? Also, how do you want him to feel? Do you want him to feel like he's the king of the castle? Do you want him to feel inferior to you? Do you want him to feel that you're equal? You know, and then we go through this type of exercise where I guess you retrain your mind into being really, really specific and clear on the feeling that you want to have. Then you kind of move all through all the 5 senses. You know, when he touches you, how do you want to feel when he touches you? You know, do you want to get like turned on sexually? Do you want to feel safe? Do you want to feel that, you know, he's powerful and you're just like, you know, he's just like loving you like that, and you feel safe, you feel abundant that way? You know, how do you want him to feel? How do you want to feel when he's touching you? The same type as vice versa. You know, when you touch him, how do you want him to feel? So we go through all these exercises to get really, really clear about what it is that you want to have. Okay.
Amazing.
Let
Yeah.
me tell you, it's an exercise that takes a while. I mean, it sounds simple, but it actually is, it can be quite difficult because most people have never ever thought of doing that in their lives.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, getting that clarity and even taking the time and, you know, I myself, you know, beginning of the year, you're thinking about your goals, you know, and we actually set a meeting with a bunch of ladies to do our vision boards, you know, but it takes some time to even, we were doing a review of 2020 and then you start writing your year, you really have to give yourself that time. And honestly, the time we gave ourselves was not enough. And that was, you know, 3 hours on a Sunday. I feel like I need to give myself more time to finish the process, you know, and now that and the way you describe it, you're taking it to the next level because you're not just writing a goal on a piece of paper. You're now really and feeling it, you know. That's not really a word, but I've heard it before. Abraham Hicks talks about and feeling, you know. How would you feel when you have that goal, when you
Right.
that goal?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and then really talking about the 5 senses, like I never crossed my mind to actually like go that deep into and feeling, you know, and feeling your goal, and they, you know, envisioning and feeling, right?
Right. Do you know, I actually went through an exercise before I met my husband where I went celibate for a whole month. But when I say celibate, I mean, I wasn't talking to anybody verbally. I wasn't texting any mails. I was just not communicating that way at all. And all I did was I manifested through visualization the feelings that I wanted to have in the relationship. And I've done the same for my business. I've done the same for my coaching business. I've done the same for my lifestyle. I've done the same living here in Mexico. And it's a process that once you get the hang of it, you can really use it for anything. And truthfully, this is what creating abundance is, because once you have the clarity and once you start to actually attract everything that you're wanting in your life, you become in sync and aligned with the energy of fulfillment. And that is something that most people in the world have a great difficulty to achieve. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Not being clear is one of them. And I'm not going to go down into all the other reasons why it can stuff up and them not feel that, but there's a lot of reasons for that. But being clear about what it is that you want is really, I think it's like the foundation of not only abundance and success monetary wise, you know, because we're talking money matters today, but also in terms of spirituality, in terms of actual love, and in terms of actually fulfillment as a whole, you know, personally and spiritually as well. You know, I mean, abundance, I guess, you know, that word has been thrown around. Whoops, sorry. That was
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Has been thrown around for a long time, mainly with hippies. I mean, you know, oh yeah, you know, they talk about abundance and stuff. But the thing is, I mean, Albert Einstein, if you have done any of his of the reading that he, you know, he did and teaches, basically as a physicist, he talks about energy and the frequency of something. And you know, you know, you mentioned Abraham Hicks earlier, and I think you would agree to, you know, when I say that, you know, life is really about matching, or abundance I should say, is really about matching the frequency to what it is that we want to achieve, and as a result we attract that to us. So this is what I'm saying. You don't actually have to, you know, wait for it to well, you don't actually have to get there tomorrow, or, you know, have that tomorrow. You can actually have it today. You can actually have it right now. All you need to do to have that abundance and to create the abundance, especially, you know, this year 2021, is really to vibrate to match the frequency of the vibration of whatever it is you want to attract. So whether it is, you know, money, and again, you got to be really clear in terms of exactly how much money you want, whether it's, you know, a new job, a new business, a new relationship, whether it's a new body, whatever it might be. All you need to do is really get in tune to the frequency that thing, or, you know, object or cause vibrates that. And then all of a sudden you are actually pulling that to you, as opposed to it, being there in the future for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. And again, but when it comes to abundance, it's really as simple as that. Now we break it down, I guess, psychologically, because then the second step after one is clear is to actually have a plan. So yes, you can sit and you can manifest through your mind. The truth is, whilst that can happen and whilst that can be done, most people don't have the knowledge or the experience to just wish for something and to have it there the next day or the next week or the next month. Okay. I'm not saying that it can't happen, because it actually can. And I've actually seen people manifest diseases away, manifest their dream job, manifest their relationship, manifest their dream cars, like literally in I'm not going to say seconds, but literally in a few weeks. I mean, some of the crazy stuff that I've seen happen has been truly amazing. I'm really, really excited and looking forward to another Dr. Joe Dispenza's live course, which is actually going to be here in Playa del Carmen, or rather a little further towards down Tulum in February. And it's all about meditation and actually raising your vibration, raising your frequency, so that basically you collapse time and space. And he goes on about the quantum physics of it, where you can, at that moment, you can, ensure that, for example, if you have a sickness, all the cells in your body are healthy, and you get rid of disease that way. And then you can attract whatever it is that you wish to attract. So, but that is something that, takes a little bit of practice, obviously, years. Let's be honest, it's not something, So for the other people, what you need as step 2 is you need to have a plan for what it is that you're wishing to have. So for example, with money, like let's say, you want to have, I mean, usually I hear people go, oh, I want to have more money. And here's the thing, we're talking about energy, and we're talking about abundance, and we're talking about matching the frequency to stuff. You can say, I want more money, and then all of a sudden you find a quarter on the floor. Well, that's more money that you had yesterday. You know what I mean? So the universe actually answered you and has given you what you asked for. Yeah. But you're not happy with that, because that's not really what you wanted. You wanted whatever it was. You wanted an extra $10,000 a month, or you wanted, your income to go to 7 figures, or you wanted 9 figures, or whatever it might be. But this is what I'm saying. You need to have a plan to get to where you actually want to get to. And again, for that, you need to obviously have the clarity and then have the plan in place. So normally I work backwards with my clients. Usually they are, for example, if I'm working with a client who is transitioning from having a job to a startup, we usually say, okay, well, how much money do you want to make in that first year? And it's usually between $100,000 and $200,000. And it's really interesting, because most people, of course, don't believe in themselves as much as they should. So that everybody goes, okay, look, I'm happy with just 100 grand. So I'm like, okay, well, let's look at that. And then you just work backwards. So if they are selling a product or service, I mean, it's not difficult to make $1 million. It's not difficult to make $100,000, or it's not difficult to make $10 million, as long as you actually know what you're doing and you actually work backwards. So for example, if you have a product or a service, and say you want to make $100,000, and your product costs you X amount of dollars to sell, so you've got your cost of goods price, which obviously comes out because you also want to make a profit. You're just then dividing 100,000 into how many units do I have to sell of my product per month. And they say it's 50 units a month, right? Okay, well, if it's 50 units a month, what do I need to do to get to the 50 units? How many people do I need to show my products to? How many people do I need to speak to? If it's, if you're doing like the old sales, how many people do I need to speak to? Usually, 9 out of 10 people will tell you no. 1 out of 10 will tell you maybe, but it's still not a definite yes. So then you just break it down to the point where it gets really, really clear in terms of what you need to do. And you know exactly, okay, well, I need to speak to 20 people a day to get my 50 sales a month, to get to my $100,000 a a year, or whatever the amount might be for you, because everybody's different, obviously, depending on the service and the product and the cost. So that's something, the plan is super, super important. And in the plan, we also look at, you know, it's not abundance. It's not about how much money you have, but as Warren Buffett says, it's all about how much money you keep. And so I've, you know, throughout my career, I have met many people that could make money easily, but they had no idea how to manage money. And that's obviously what I talk about in my book. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you save. And one of the ways to do that, to save, is to obviously
invest.
Well, one is to really know your tax laws so that you are very, very well protected. But the second thing, which, you know, we talk about also debt and people being in debt, the most, I guess, the most simplest form to describe debt, and, you know, and I said, and people always laugh, but it's like, you know what, we would not have a problem with debt if people were just taught at a young age, and that's something that I'm very, very passionate about, teaching the young children how to manage their money. But nobody would have any problems if we were taught at a young age to not spend more than what they make. Unfortunately, that's not how everybody makes money today with the credit card debt and so forth. They actually want you to spend more. They actually want you to be in debt. You know, actually want you to have the, you know, what is it, $300,000 home loan, the $50,000 debt on your education, you know, when you're married, the $30,000 debt on your wedding, $20,000 car loan, and so forth. That's what society teaches, unfortunately, today, which is, again, you know, I mean, I haven't watched TV since 2017.
I think there's a lot of people in my audience that are also not TV watchers. I myself haven't had a TV since I left my parents' home. So,
Right.
with the exception of like one roommate house that I lived in as a university student, and it wasn't my TV, it was just there. But yeah, there are better things to focus our attention on, right? So.
Right. This is the thing. Unfortunately, even with all of COVID, everybody was, I think, COVID was, and again, I'm not going to go into it, but, you know, was thrown in their faces every single second that it really became something that should not have been, when you look at all the other diseases that are the same as, or actually more greater than COVID in terms of, you know, killing people.
Absolutely.
About obesity, I'm talking about heart disease, I'm talking about cancer. Like
Absolutely.
They would be free, you know. If you look at the number of deaths from cancer alone, I can tell you that it surpasses COVID, yet nobody, you know, that yet when if you were on CNN, all I see is the number of COVID.
Absolutely.
As opposed to, you know, everything else. So, but anyway, well, like I said, we're not actually talking about that.
Focusing people's attention on that, and the whole thing is just growing bigger because so many people's attention is being focused on it.
And where focus goes, energy flows, and that is why people have lived in fear last year. That is why people are still living in fear. That is why, you know, we've had a lot of the riots and so forth. I mean, a lot of it is fear driven. And the thing is, with fear, it's if you don't have the ability of actually questioning what you hear, meaning if you're one of these people that are led by social media, by advertisers, etc., which most of us are, because, you know, television is really, you know, it is really a way for them to actually plant in your subconscious mind everything, you know, want you to the behavior that they want you to have, you know.
Absolutely. Yes, programming, television programming, it's called programming for a reason. You're speaking to a receptive crowd, Aly. Most of my friends are, you know, very much freedom loving and aware. You know, I would like to think a lot of my friends are self-aware. Of course, we could all do better. And, you know, I'm really grateful that you're really breaking it down very, very well for us, in terms of, having that clarity and then having a plan. And yeah, so I just wanted to say,
So
we're in agreement with you here in terms of, there are better things to put our attention on. I think,
oh,
since we're speaking about focus, though, I feel like, the other, because we know there's this agenda that's being pushed on us and so on. Well, at least let me say that. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what I'm seeing, that they're pushing all this COVID numbers on us. To give you an example, I think the bigger fear, those of us who are awake and are like, no, I don't want that. But the alternative is that you're gonna now focus on the encroachments on your freedoms, on like all this bad stuff that's coming down. And that's also a trap, I feel. And we can only, I think awareness is important, but you don't want to be focusing all your life energy on all these evil things that they're planning for us. That's not the key. That's not the solution energetically. I get it, and let's focus on the world that we want, and part of our conversation today is, how do we generate more of that world that we want moving forward? And
well, one of the ways to generate it after you have gotten crystal clear on what it is you actually want in life, and obviously having the plan, is to actually be consistent through your plan of action and taking action. And consistency is something that, again, needs practice. It's like, you don't go to the gym for once and expect to have biceps like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
This is for all the January gym goers. Sadly, right now, I can't even go to, gyms are closing Canada right now. But I mean, it's almost hilarious, like a lot of people have a lot of good intentions regarding their fitness. And we all know statistically by middle of February, many have stopped going, even though they may have paid like a year in advance for their membership. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the trends and the numbers are quite high. Obviously, in January, everybody's going to lose weight. But, again, you don't go to the gym once, you don't have a salad and expect to be 20 pounds later or 20 kilos later the next day or the next week. It just doesn't work like that. You need to have that consistency to do whatever it is that you have not been doing, obviously creating new habits in the process, to then be able to reach the goal of your plan. And here's something else with consistency that, again, a lot of people don't really think about and have fallen, I guess. You can be consistent, and obviously you need consistency, but you need to also always measure where you're at. Meaning, let's say let's say I wanted to lose weight, and I need to, on my plan is like, I have to do X amount of weights, but I have a bad back. So, but I have my plan, and my plan is to do this until I reach my goal weight or whatever, but I have a bad back. So obviously in my consistency of exercise, I need to measure where I'm at. And if obviously lifting a lot of weights is hurting my back, then I need to stop and reassess and change it so that I still get the same result, but through a different method, because I don't want to get the same result and then be in a wheelchair because I can't move. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people will get too into the consistency without actually measuring where they're at. And again, that's something that obviously it's not going to work, because you can be consistent, but you're not going to be, if you're consistent in going west looking for a sunrise, well,
I hear you. That's very interesting. So
yeah, there's a type of consistency. So that's something that I've seen a lot of business owners failing, unfortunately, because they're so caught up in the whole I guess it's like the whole angle of them wanting to achieve what they want to achieve, and then being successful and really chasing success, that they actually don't sort of stop and look at where they really are and how actually is impacting themselves. So I guess, again, here, self-awareness is something that some of them have lacked, because what you want to do through your consistency is also be self-aware of where it is that you're going. And again, I mean, you don't want to compare yourself with you know, with the person next to you, unfortunately, you know, that's again, society teaches you to be like the Joneses, you know, to have defense, to have the body that they see in the magazines, to have, you know, the hot guy or girl in a relationship, because that's what, you know, that's what is considered by everybody as success and so forth. And here's the thing, I mean, competition is great. Don't get me wrong. I love competition, but the only person I compete with is myself. The only person that you should compete with is the person that stares back at you in the mirror. Why? Because being you, doing you, never goes out of style. And that is actually your superpower. So as long as we are going to be comparing ourselves with who we were yesterday, that is a way of measuring our success and our growth. But if I'm going to compare myself, it's kind of like, you know, and I can't remember who said this, but if you're, you know, if a fish is going to judge his intelligence by the ability of climbing a tree, it will spend his whole life thinking it was stupid. And it's the cat, you know, if a cat is going to judge its intelligence by swimming in the water, again, it will also think that it is stupid. And unfortunately, as humans, you know, I know it sounds, you know, funny when you mention it, but it's just human nature. You know, you compare yourself. I mean, you know, women compare themselves to other women constantly all the time when they shouldn't, because everybody's different. And I mean, I'll be honest, I've done it. No, you know, it's again something that our society has beaten into us from the, you know, from the minute that we hear TV, whatever age that is, that, you know, we need to look a certain way, dress a certain way, act a certain way, talk a certain way, you know, eat a certain way, and so forth. And again, it's something that really is, I think, one of the best ways to really not have, I'm not going to use the word failure, but to really get disappointed in life is to actually compare yourself with others, because that's the way that, you know, you are truly going to succeed in the failure of whatever it is you're comparing yourself with the other person, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of people do that. And, you know, it just breaks my heart to see teenagers do this, to see even, you know, grown men and women do this, you know, business-wise, financial-wise, and so forth. There's a lot of people on social media, you know, copying per se, you know, others or influences or people that, you know, they like to be like. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong to admire somebody. There's nothing wrong to appreciate somebody's gifts, but don't compare yourself to them, because that's not who you are. You have to tune into and become self-aware of your own gifts and actually how to add value to society that way, and do that, be that, you know.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
Right.
Thank you for sharing that. I can relate, you know, because I think we've all done it at some point in life, you know, where you especially you hit a certain milestone age and you're like, oh, what did I achieve? Like, oh, I haven't achieved enough, or you know, it's, and women are particularly hard on themselves, I think, you know.
Definitely.
And, you know, but it's great because the older I get, the less I seem to care. I think it's interesting. Or you get to accept yourself and you get to love yourself, and it's a great thing when that happens, you know, and focus on your own strength and realize that you can you're not going to be like the next person. You really have to focus on your own strengths and ideally, as much as possible, do what you're best at, and recognize that you're not, and hopefully be able to delegate that. But I mean, that's a whole conversation for another day. So Aly, I was going to ask a question though regarding the consistency, right? Because I mean, many people have the enthusiasm to start, but then what do you feel? And I hear you about, you know, measuring yourself every so often, but then after a certain while, you know, how do you keep up? How do you, what can I say? How do you keep fueling that enthusiasm when the going gets rough? When on the days when you're not feeling so enthusiastic? When you feel like wanting to quit, you know, because, and I think I know where.
And everybody's that everybody's felt like that at times. I've felt like quitting at times as well. The truth is, consistency with consistency you get momentum, and with momentum you get consistency. And as long as you're going in the right direction to see that sunrise, you're not going west, but you're going east to see the sunrise. It's all about progress. And in fact, one of the things to actually help with that is to actually celebrate the little wins. And again, I mean, my mom was Eastern European girl, so she was like, we never celebrated anything. Nothing I ever did was good enough for her. And as a result, I grew up thinking that, I mean, I think I was 37 and I had like 10 apartments, and it was like no big deal. I had, my own business. I was one of the first people to actually have an Airbnb business in Australia. And again, I thought it's not a big deal. Everybody does this. But what we need to do is actually celebrate our achievements every single time, even the small ones. So you don't have to wait, to celebrate. We're talking about celebrating life as we know it. Celebrate the little wins. And also, one of the things that keeps the consistency and the momentum to actually get to your final destination is actually practicing gratitude. And I know that sounds really corny, but most of my mentors and most of the most successful people that I have had the privilege to interview and have conversations with and actually be around, and again, proximity is power, is how grateful they are for what they have. But they start their day and end their day with gratitude. And that's like a practice that I actually now do every single morning, every single night before I go to bed, but also during the day. It's really appreciating that moment, appreciating that sunrise in the morning, appreciating the sun on my face, appreciating the fact that I am here in Mexico, appreciating, the little gecko that's on my, I've got a little new gecko friend over there in the corner, and he's like about this. But, appreciating the small things. And, they don't have to be, nothing has to be expensive or cost you money, but it's just appreciating those moments, appreciating the fact that somebody took the time out of their day to actually say hello to you, or to offer you that smile, or to say hello, or to give you the call, or to send you the text, or to, mention you. I was talking to a friend of mine that does breakfast radio. And I had sent her a message yesterday, and I wanted to listen to her through the app that she does her program through. And, she gave me a shout out on radio and things like that. It's just the little things that you need to appreciate that really, like I said, what you focus on expands. So if you're going to focus on gratitude, if you're going to focus on all the abundance that you have in your life, you're just going to get more of that frequency, and you're only going to attract more things to be grateful for, appreciative of. And as a result, your life will just become more joyous. Therefore, you will have the momentum to do and to achieve your goal. And obviously, as a result, that in itself is the abundance, which will carry the dollar sign at the end of the day.
Amazing. Got it. So appreciating is, would you say that's the kind of like the closing process of this
gratitude,
abundance?
Yeah, definitely rooted in celebration. So let me, if I complete you the summary again. So number one is be super clear on what it is that you want to achieve. Okay. Number two is actually having a plan to get you there. Number three is to be consistent, not to quit, but also stop and measure, because what doesn't get measured cannot grow. And if you're not growing, then you're dying. And number five is to be grateful for the little things, and to give yourself space, give yourself room to actually celebrate all the little wins. And you know what? Celebrate even the failures, because if we don't fail, we don't grow. Failure is great. Failure is a way for us to actually learn and grow and do it better next time. So, don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid of what you're stopping yourself from being. Be afraid of what you're stopping yourself from achieving, from doing, by not taking action. You know, at the end of the day, I'm sure, and again, you know, most of the older people that I've spoken to, at the end of their lives on their deathbed, nobody's going to say, you know, I regret not doing it. Sorry, I regret doing this. You know, nobody's going
Right.
to
Yeah.
say, hey, I regret not taking more chances in life. I regret
Right.
not, you know, traveling more. I regret not spending more time with the people I loved. I regret not being more involved in my community. You know, those are the regrets that you can never get back, because at the end of the day, we can all make money.
Yeah.
You know, we can all make money. The
Yeah.
amount depends upon us, but we can all make money. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, we cannot get the time back, you know, and everybody has the same amount of time in their day. I mean, you know, one of my beliefs is that at the end of the day, everybody's equal. And by that, I mean that we all have the same resources, which is time to create what we want, you know? So it's, the reason why one creates and one doesn't, it's not because of the resources. It's not because of the money. It's not even because of the time. It's really about priorities. And that is what we need to decide for us to create the abundance that we want. Because like I said, what I think is success or what I want is completely different to you, completely different to the next person.
That is amazing, Ali. So thank you so much for sharing those insights. I was so fascinated with your conversation. I really didn't have much to add. Usually I like to intervene a bit more, but it was you were saying all the right things. There's nothing for, you know, all I can do is agree with what you were sharing. And thank you again. You really spoke very eloquently, and everything flowed so well. And it was an inspiring conversation. And so I feel like if people want to take it to the next level, and one thing that came to mind as you were talking about consistency, I think what's been helpful for me in the past is having some sort of accountability partner, whether it was a girlfriend. So for example, my girlfriends and I, for a while, we were having a gratitude list group. So every morning we would share our gratitude lists with each other. Now we've fallen off the wagon, and I'm not happy about that. I've since the year started, I started doing my gratitude list again. We haven't shared yet, and I still feel like maybe I should, because I feel that that's going to hold me more accountable. But we didn't do a good job of keeping each other accountable, because we're friends, and friends don't want to, you know, you don't want to make your friend upset. So I feel like perhaps with a coach, a coach, or I guess a third party, somebody who you're not necessarily friendly with, very close friends with, I feel could help that accountability aspect, you know.
Well, accountability is great. Accountability is fantastic to help you get to the next step in your business, the next step in your finances, the next step in your relationship, in your health. I'm 100% for accountability. However, for accountability to work, you need to have the commitment. And I always say, you know, commitment is not always convenient, but with consistency, it builds champions. So you need to actually have the commitment from everybody in the group in order for that to be successful. Because
okay.
You know, just to get into an accountability group because it sounds nice, or it sounds that that's what I want, it's not really going to be successful unless that is a priority. And so you need to see that something like the accountability group is actually a priority for the people that are in the group. Because it's like I said, it's never about time. It's not, you know, you saying, you know, we're friends. It's not about that, because you can still be friends. It's really about priorities. Okay. So obviously somewhere down the line, it's not a priority for them. And I'm just going to end, because I don't know the time over, but I'll just end by saying this. And Dr. John DeMartini has an amazing strategy and talks on values. Because he says, you know, people don't do what they want to do, what they should do, what they tell you they're going to do. People do value. And I remember, just really quickly, how much have we gone over time, or do we have?
No, we're still within the hour. Thank you, Ali. Yeah, we're a few minutes from 5. Yeah.
So let me quickly give you this example. So, you know, Eastern European mother, when the divorce happened, my mother thought that, oh my God, if they see Aly being skinny, they're going to think I'm a bad mother. So I'm just going to feed her. And I would rather her be fat, because people then are going to think I'm a great mother than not. So I grew up with this food addiction, and it took me years and years and years to control, I guess. But the bottom line is this. I used to say to myself, I value health. Health is my number one thing. You've done Date with Destiny. So yes, I value health. Health is my number one thing. The truth was that I said that, but that wasn't true, because what I actually valued was to eat the crap that I was eating. So we may say we value one thing, but that's not the truth, because what you value, you are taking action towards. You are creating. So for example, my husband goes to the gym twice a day, and he has never missed the gym in the whole entire time that I've known him, apart from the gym when the gyms were closed because of COVID last year. But that's who he is. So again, it's easy for me to say I value health, but then go and eat, a packet of cookies or some chocolate or some ice cream. And you're not being consistent. And Dr. John DeMartini says you're actually creating not what you say you value, but what you actually do value. And then he goes into a whole bunch of different exercises to actually work out what you truly value, as opposed to what you say you value.
Interesting. So it's, again, part of that self-discovery. So when you find yourself taking actions that are not consistent with what you state are your goals, or your, let's say the lifestyle you aspire to, chances are there's an inner conflict when it comes to your actual values that are running your life. And I'm very grateful, at Date with Destiny, I discovered I was being run by some values that, I had no idea about, on the relationship front. And it was such an eye opener. It was absolutely amazing. I recommend that course to anybody. Date with Destiny, Tony Robbins. It is a life changer for sure.
Absolutely.
It helped me recognize, really, I was basically running on autopilot when it came to that aspect of my life. And then once I got that self-awareness, like, wow, now I'm a choice. Now I can make different choices, and it was very freeing. So this conversation can get a lot deeper, I know, Aly, and we don't have any time in the world, but you are a results coach. You actually support people and businesses in getting to the next level and actually creating that abundance, whether it's in their personal life or even on a business level. I really don't mind if you could share a little bit about how you support people and businesses, and you have the platform. So please tell us a little bit more about how you could help people, because I'm sure many of us, I know I enjoyed this conversation, and I know many people in our audience, I trust that they've also enjoyed it. If they want more of you, what else is there?
So sure. So basically, I basically work on two different trajectories. One is for people that have got a 9-to-5 job that they're not happy with, or that they are happy with, but because it pays the bills, but they're not fulfilled by it. And basically, I help them start up their own business and creating that 6 or 7 figure income to begin with. So that's one trajectory. The other is for established businesses that are already doing good turnover. I basically, in 18 months, double or triple their business by doing the simple strategies that I have perfected, I guess you can say, in the last, gosh, how many years. So it really depends on what it is that they want to achieve and where they are at their entrepreneurial level, whether they are a startup. So whether they're just, maybe fearful because they don't know how to start, they don't know where to start, they don't know where to turn, they don't know how to do it, but they really want to do it, or whether they've already got the revenue and the employees underneath them to actually basically exponentially scale their business. And the reason why I do both is that and they're so different, they really, really are so different, is because I was once a startup myself, and it's really interesting to be able to, I guess, save people time and all the mistakes that I've made, making sure that they don't. So really cutting the time and giving them more time and that lifestyle freedom to be able to do what they want, when they want, with whoever they want. And with the other entrepreneurs that have got already established businesses, there's always I mean, to get to the first $1 million is really a struggle for a lot, but at the end of the day is really a mental struggle, because abundance, finance, money, okay, it's never about making it, meaning it's 80% mindset. And unfortunately, most of the world's mindset, I mean, look at where we are today, it's the mindset that there's an issue with, 20% mechanics, but it's 80% mindset. And once you have you've had the opportunity to be self-aware of where you are with your mentality and your mindset onto it, it's really simple, like you said, to make different choices, and most people are afraid of change. Most people, feel that they're going to lose something by changing, because that's what they focus on,
Mm.
you need to actually look forward to what you're going to gain, what you're going to achieve from taking the action, from making the change, as opposed to focusing on the fear of actually changing. So it's the same, it's the same highway, it's just different thoughts towards it,
Got it. I love it. That is so interesting, and you've got me excited about changes and trajectories that I want to pursue, and I actually look forward to speaking further with you one on one. And so, Ali, just because we do have to run, I know you had an offer in mind for our audience. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So if you would like to have a strategy call with me, they're usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'm going to throw in my Money Make It, Manage It, Master It ebook for free as well. And I will do, for the people that are watching this, for Letitia's community, I will do a 50% discount. Instead of $500, only $250, and they can contact you for further information.
Oh, well, thank you, Ali. Or they can, well, thank you so much, Ali. I appreciate that. I don't mind putting your contact information. They can just mention your name. Yeah, I will share that if people want to have a look. Give me 1 second here.
Great.
Thank you, Ali. 1 second, guys. Share. Okay. And this is how you can get in touch with the lovely Ali. You guys want more of this amazing woman.
Slide more about that.
That's a great slide, right? What is it? I love it. I love the picture, Ali. I love it. So thanks again, Ali, for coming on as my lovely guest. And thanks everyone for watching. I'm gonna just have a quick look, Ali, to see if there were any questions in the comment section. Do you mind? Don't mind, I hope. 1 second.
I hope I haven't scared everybody away.
Oh, para nada. No way, Jose. No, you were absolutely lovely, and I'm sure you were like, I can really use a lot more money. As if I already have it. Well, it sounds like
you want to have an amount, a specific
amount. Okay. It sounds like people enjoy the conversation. Ali, if anybody wants to put any questions,
go right ahead.
Absolutely. You know what? And again, feel free to also comment whenever you get to watch this webinar. It will remain live on my Facebook wall. And Ali, you're also welcome to share it on your Facebook and your social media. Once I go to YouTube, I'll also let you know so you can share that link as well. So perfect. Thank you once again. You're absolutely lovely. And once again, Happy New Year, everybody. Make it an abundant and amazing year. Let's keep focusing on what we want and the world we want to create. Okay. Much love, everyone.
Absolutely. Abundance can be created. All you got to do is just believe and actually raise your vibration to the frequency to be able to do, have, and be anything you've ever wanted. Bye, everybody.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Aly. Beautiful.